Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar. Today's Zoom class is all about how I made a mistake. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not too proud enough to admit when I'm wrong. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons I'm making this video is on my own subreddit, a user posted, Muta's latest video on Xbox third-party accessories is uninformed, badly researched, and misguided. Now, of course, they wrote, those who know me, I'm a regular Mutahar enjoyer, but this one has me reeling. Now, to understand, this post contains some pretty graphic words, okay? They were definitely not nice, but it's okay, all right? I am a man that is completely open to criticism, and it's one of the things that when you're creating videos on the internet, you have to watch out for. I believe that everyone makes mistakes. This mistake, thankfully, was not irredeemable. It's not like, I was out looking for cupcakes or something like that. It's nothing of that nature. That's an irredeemable fuck-up. This, ladies and gentlemen, is something that I can offer corrections to, okay? And it actually did teach me. So to understand, ladies and gentlemen, working on a deep web video right now. Actually, I got a virus investigations video, and you know why I'm recording like this? Because I made another mistake. I broke my computer, so it's currently re-imaging right now, just because virtual machines aren't totally safe. They're like condoms, 99.9% effective. Sometimes you get unlucky with the 0.01, but hey, it happens. Anyways, before I rip my eyeballs out, let's get back to the fun here. So, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday I made a video talking about, how cheaters ruin everything. Now, in that video, I talked about the Xbox third-party situation where they're actually, giving warnings. So if you're using third-party software, third-party hardware devices that haven't been certified by Microsoft, you're gonna stop getting access to them, obviously, in the next, or whenever Microsoft has given the final ultimatum. I think it's like November 12th. Also in that video, I talked about how being a Linux gamer, trying to play a video game online is like trying to find the Ark of the fucking Covenant. It's just not happening, okay? You're never going to be able to play online because anti-cheats consider me to be worse than anything imaginable. So inside this video, inside this Reddit post, they talk about multiple topics, okay? Is Microsoft doing this to stop cheaters? Muta talks for what feels like 5 hours about what a Zim is and how this will stop Zim users. The reality of this is this does not stop something like a Zim or a Cronus from existing, as they already require you to use a first-party controller plugged in for authentication reasons. This new ban cannot stop cheating devices from man-in-the-middling, okay? That's what MIT-emming means. The console believes that it's talking to the original controller because that controller is present. So they're absolutely 100% right, and one of the reasons why I didn't immediately jump into this is, A, I don't have those devices, so I don't know exactly how they function in relation to when they're connected to a system. I went to Zim's website, and nowhere inside this website have they ever really said it as plainly as their competitors Cronus have. Cronus Zen is actually that product, okay? So basically you plug in a keyboard and mouse here, and you do need an actual Xbox controller, or a PlayStation controller, or a Switch controller, just so you can pass that controller off to the system. See, the way that all of this works is the Cronus and Zim devices typically add in all the processing from a keyboard and mouse input. So when I press the H key on my keyboard, it passes onto the system through that controller, right? So it basically sends an input, it sends a command, and again, I'm very rough when I'm explaining this, but again, what it does is it has an actual official controller in that middle, so what the controller sees, what the actual game console will see, is the official product. It doesn't really have to know anything beyond that. It doesn't really even know if beyond it, there's another product sending the commands through this controller. For all the Xbox or the PlayStation or the Switch believes, it thinks an actual human being is interacting with the buttons on that controller. See, it just thinks that this is how it's being used. It doesn't realize that this is just sort of an in-the-chain system, and behind it is a keyboard basically hiding itself behind the controller. That's effectively what the reality is. Now, of course, I had a bit of a misinformation because their websites, at least Zim, wasn't so forthcoming on it, but it is common knowledge in those communities. I was speaking to a bunch of people who were in the Rainbow Six Siege console community because that's a community that I'm kind of slowly entering. Now, one of the reasons why I'm even in those communities discussing with people who were bringing this topic up a couple days ago is being in the PC Linux community. I can't play Rainbow Six Siege, okay? That shit does not fucking work on my system. It keeps kicking me out. It might even ban my accounts if I keep trying too hard. So my only, thing is, let's play on Xbox, let's play on PlayStation, because at least then, all I pay is a subscription fee, and I don't have to worry about installing Windows on my system. That's effectively what it came down to. So yes, there was misinformation on my end. But of course, the Reddit poster here on my subreddit goes further into this situation. So where me and this Redditor agree together is that we believe that cheaters in multiplayer games, especially ranked stuff, are scumbags. On this topic, we are 1,000,000% soul bonded, okay? We are brothers in arms, motherfucker. So again, why is Microsoft doing this? They're not doing this to stop Zimmers and strike packers. I didn't even heard of the term strike packers. That's insane. I've heard of Zimmers, I've heard of Chromisers, I've heard of wastes of life, but that's a new one for me. What they claim is they want full control of the accessories market, so headphones, controllers, all that shit. Microsoft has to subsidize the Xbox for you to buy it all. Every single dollar they can eke out of you is a huge win for them. And this isn't new information whatsoever. The entire console industry, basically since its inception as far as I understand, have always sold their consoles at a loss. So to understand, that Xbox that you buy, that PlayStation that you buy, that Nintendo that you buy, the Switch or whatever, that device is not built at that manufacturing, like the manufacturing cost versus its retail cost, it's higher, okay? So to understand, this is why like consoles are great entry points. Like if anybody tells me, can I build a gaming PC cheaper than a PlayStation 5? The answer is probably not. Like over time, you'll probably save more money with game sales and whatnot and not paying subscription fees for online services. But the core box is actually cheaper. And the way that like they actually make this into proper business sense is they'll sell you like a $60, $100 controller, they'll sell you video games, they'll sell you parts that they can take little tiny pieces of commission off of. And that's just how these console companies gain money out of it. And I don't disregard, like I don't doubt that Microsoft may have even implemented this now that I read more into it, to actually make up a deficit in like losses that they're mounting up by selling Xboxes or some of their more expensive products, right? So again, what are some of the terrible impacts of this? So here they talk about one of the actual points where Microsoft deletes clips off of the Xbox. Apparently, like that I didn't even know. I didn't know that Microsoft was literally removing my memories off of their cloud service. Go fuck yourself. One of them is, you're a girl? You have small hands? Been using a DualShock 4 because it's the only controller that's small enough for your hands? Tough shit! Xbox is for the boys only. We don't want no cooties in here. Okay, I'll be honest. I think this man is this is the multiverse hitting, okay? This is like a really evil version of me, okay? God damn. We are syncing up together, pal. But of course, want to have one racing wheel because you don't have the money or space for two of them? I actually made this point, by the way, too. No? Go screw yourself. If you want to be an Xbox gamer, better move to a bigger apartment, you poor. Jesus. So again, one of the things is there's a bunch of controllers that work now that will not work in the future unless the manufacturers pay Microsoft money per unit for a license. This is just a cash grab that stifles innovation and raises controller prices. Entrenched incumbent companies like Logitech and similar that make dozens of third-party accessories already have licenses. That's true. They also mention one company known as GullyKit. For innovators like them to stay in the market, ultimately it will hurt them because, again, these costs mount up for especially smaller companies like this. Is Microsoft on its old shit again? They always have been. Come on, brother. Those of you who remember the 90s remember the Java debacle of Microsoft has always been an evil company that always tries to stifle out its competition, okay? Let's not even pretend otherwise. Back in the 90s, before JavaScript could do a lot of stuff and before Flash and before apps, the only way to really have a good interactive element in your website was to have a Java applet. That meant that there was a rectangle on your website, possibly the whole website. That was a Java application. It's like Proto Flash. It did everything. Games, videos, webcams. This is true. If you ever used the internet back when I was a kid, when I was a youngin', the internet was far inferior to what it is nowadays, okay? And then they reference how Java was a free standard. They built their market around making hardware that made Java possible to run in the cloud or on the server side. Microsoft was preparing to roll out their ASP platform, which was their web server programming solution, and decided to fuck with Sun, who basically were the heads, the people that created Java, using a technique called embrace, extend, and extinguish. Man, I feel old reading this, Jesus. This term came from emails that were exchanged internally at MS in preparation for performing this scheme. So what they did is, in their browser, which 99% of all internet users used, they had their own version of Java. At first it was fully compatible, they embraced Java, and then Microsoft started giving it features that were different from what Sun's Java did. So basically using IE, Internet Explorer, which was basically the de facto internet browser of that time, suddenly found themselves having to delve deeper into browser settings and install new Sun software to great confusion. If they wanted to do something that required compatibility with Sun software, they would basically extinguish the Sun. Basically, they made it hard for their competitors. Now, to understand, this falls into a long line of antitrust situations that Microsoft has. They've been sued countless times, investigated countless times. This whole story that I read you is actually like just 1% of the entire story. It is worth delving deep into. And honestly, this video today, this Reddit post calling me out, has inspired me into looking further into Microsoft. I've always talked about why I dislike this company. Maybe I should spend the next couple months really digging into their various lawsuits and just showing you exactly how all the way from the 90s up until now, Microsoft as a company is willing to stifle out its competition and refer to their competition as literal communist devices. I remember what you said about Linux, Balmore. I'm never going to forget that shit. Gamers love to gaslight themselves when simping for Daddy Bitcorp, thinking about all the possibilities and wonderful things that will surely happen. You know, honestly, yeah, I will be honest. We all pretty much did gaslight ourselves. Gamers have some really fucking stupid moments, and yeah, I'll admit this is definitely one of a stupid moment that I've had. Again, don't ever let me believe that Microsoft is good, okay? So anyways, why is Mutahar so fucking lazy? Now this one cuts deep because it's actually true in this situation. I should have done more research into this story, and I should have actually done more than just talk to the community members and read from some of the other sensationalist locations. Okay, I should have went beyond just Reddit. I should have really dug into actually getting my hands on the Zim and Cronus devices. Then I would truly understand that these devices have already found ways to spoof themselves away from being detected. Now, I did discuss in my videos that there are things like Mousetrap, which is actually Ubisoft's specific tool that's designed to detect these users. Because again, since they're hiding behind an actual official controller from both Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, they will never be detected. So in reality, what you have to basically do is use, API. You basically have to use detection mechanisms on how input is reported to the game, like Mousetrap, to basically detect if people are using those devices. That's the only counter that you have. So again, he tells me, you know about Microsoft's EEE tactics. I do. You know they're anti-competitive. I do. I've mentioned it. You know about the antitrust lawsuits. I've mentioned it. But suddenly you're so Phil-pilled that you forget it all because Phil Spencer gave you a little head pat and said, now, Muta, this is good for you. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? So again, I just want to say for the record, this is the only thing I'll disagree with. Phil did never pill me, okay? If anything, I don't like Phil Spencer, just because I think that dude is like a fucking snake in sheep's clothing, all right? Just because, he leads Microsoft, let's be honest. Anytime Phil Spencer talks about preserving video games, he's lying to you. That man has a console on the market that still requires you to connect to the internet just to actually use it. When you buy an Xbox, if you don't have an internet connection, you have basically bought electronic waste, all right? Now again, this is me just correcting myself. Obviously, I was called out in this post, and I'll be real. People did not like the fact that he wasn't respectful, but I am totally deserving of the disrespect here. I made a mistake. And honestly, I made this video to correct that mistake and to further inform you guys about this situation. So it begs the question, really, Microsoft is basically doing this to get further ahead and lock down these console spaces without ever letting the third parties come in for, providing gamers more options, which I think is ultimately a net loss. Now, this is something that both Sony, Microsoft, and I think by extension even Nintendo are slowly doing. And it really makes me just question why I even have a gaming console to begin with. And this is me extrapolating, I really do think this is the last generation for disk drives. And at this moment in time, the next generation of video games will just be digital only. As sad as that sounds. Alan Wake 2 just dropped, one of my most favorite games ever. It's a game that has no physical release. Now, obviously, they priced the game down to reflect that, which is super odd to me, but it's just another showcase as to what the future of gaming necessarily holds, okay? I think that the more time goes on, the less and less these consoles will have any actual positives to me other than plug and play. If I can't preserve my games through a disc and have an offline version of those games, then I might as well just be sticking to PC gaming anyways. I think looking at this situation, Microsoft is definitely in the wrong, but honestly, even with this information that I'm giving you, I don't think that most of the gaming marketplace is going to care. Most people will still believe that this is out there to stop cheaters, but in reality, the moment November 12th hits, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 will have the same amount of cheaters that are using those Zim products, those Cronus products, and are using keyboard and mice, also with the crazy aim assist that the controller provides to dominate those players on day one of that game. That's never going to be fixed. And ultimately, I don't know what Microsoft could do outside of maybe pressuring them with a lawsuit, which I'm pretty sure they've tried, but I don't think Microsoft actually has a case to stand on in that specific situation. And I just want to say that anybody that gets mad at this person for being a little bit harsh, I'm a big boy. I deserve to be treated harshly, okay? All right, because I made a mistake, all right? And I'm going to own up to that mistake, and this is a Mutahar enjoyer. If they didn't enjoy my content, they wouldn't go onto my subreddit and make that lengthy post and call me out and correct the information. And the most that I can do, the most respectful thing that I can do for that person and for you guys is to correct my mistake and spread this message for the people watching. Ladies and gentlemen, that's really all that I can say about this. That said, though, tomorrow we're looking into some shady information stealing applications. And by the weekend, we hopefully should have another Deep Web video. So look forward to a couple things, ladies and gentlemen. I got all of the Metal Gear Solid 2 stuff done, so I think that video is pretty much on track for this month. So this weekend when I head to New York and I come back, we're going to have a banger of a time. I think we might actually have another 4-hour Metal Gear video. So if you miss that kind of content, there it is. Another big update, I've been reading my Reddit, and I think that I have made a fair bit of extra drama content too, like, basically looking at the recent stories. And I know that some people don't enjoy it. Obviously, it gets a lot of viewership, and there are people that watch me that do enjoy that content. But I feel like I don't want that to be the most significant part of my channel ever. And that's why I have made at least a commitment to do more videos in regards to horror-themed situations on the internet. We are looking into some videos that definitely will get demonetized. I don't even care about the demonetization aspect of it. I really only care about like the YouTube channel guideline strike part about it, because we are looking into like this one 4chan story, which is really, really dark. We're talking like murder dark. We're talking like mom and dad are buried in the basement dark while there's a party going on above. I don't even know how to get by that without a guideline strike. But I'm trying the best that I can. And beyond that, the Metal Gear video is probably the least stressful video because that's just a video game. And discussing that is honestly really, really fun. Everything that I make is really fun, the content, at least to me. It's just some pieces of content, like Deep Web stuff, even this weekend, requires me to comb like 4, 5, 6 times to make sure that I don't leak something that I can't, okay? Because as much as I complain about YouTube's community guidelines and TOS, I try to stick to it as clean as I can. And while there are some users that get away with some of the wildest shit on the platform, I like to play within the rules, even if that means censoring a bunch of things that I really don't think need to be censored, even on this platform, but I'm kind of getting into a tangent. That said, though, ladies and gentlemen, made a mistake, cleared it up. Anyways, I'm out.